Imagine a world without America. It's tough, right? America, for better or worse, is kind of a big deal. But back in the 1700s, it was just a bunch of colonies ruled by a king across the ocean. That's where our founding fathers come in. These dudes were tired of King George's taxes and rules. They wanted freedom, liberty, and a government where the people had a say. They were thinkers, writers, and revolutionaries, guys like Thomas Jefferson, George Washington, and Benjamin Franklin. They envisioned a nation built on radical new ideas like self-governance and individual rights. Their vision, enshrined in documents like the Declaration of Independence, promised a nation where every person had the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. They dreamed of a nation free from tyranny, where power resided not in a king, but in the hands of the people. This vision, however, was not without its flaws. Women, Native Americans, and enslaved Africans were largely excluded from this vision of a new and just society. Okay, so the Founding Fathers had big dreams, but dreams don't build nations. They needed a plan, a blueprint for this radical new experiment in self-governance. That's where the Constitution comes in. This document, debated and signed in 1787, is still the law of the land today. Think about that. A group of guys in powdered wigs created something that's lasted over 2 centuries. The Constitution is a big deal for a lot of reasons. It established a government divided into 3 branches, legislative, executive, and judicial, to prevent any one person or group from having too much power. This system of checks and balances was revolutionary and has been copied by countries around the world. Beyond the Constitution, the Founding Fathers also deserve credit for winning the American Revolution. They led armies, strategized battles, and ultimately secured independence from Great Britain. They championed freedom of speech and religion, ensuring that citizens could express their beliefs without fear of persecution. Their emphasis on education, though not fully realized at the time, laid the groundwork for a nation that valued knowledge and critical thinking. Alright, time for a reality check. The Founding Fathers were brilliant, flawed dudes. They accomplished amazing things, but they also made some serious mistakes. Remember those lofty ideals of equality and freedom? Well, they didn't apply to everyone. In fact, they excluded a whole lot of people. Let's start with women. Despite their contributions to the Revolution and early Republic, women were denied basic rights like voting and property ownership. They were seen as second-class citizens, confined to the domestic sphere. The Founding Fathers, for all their talk of liberty, failed to recognize the fundamental rights of half the population. Then there's the issue of Native Americans. The Founding Fathers viewed Native Americans as obstacles to westward expansion. They negotiated treaties only to break them, forcing tribes off their ancestral lands and into reservations. And of course, we can't forget about slavery. The Founding Fathers, many of whom owned slaves themselves, were deeply divided on the issue. Section 4, The Shadow of Slavery, a stain on the American experiment. Let's be real. The Founding Fathers' biggest failure was their inability to abolish slavery. This wasn't just a small oversight, it was a gaping wound in the heart of the American experiment. How could a nation founded on liberty and equality tolerate the enslavement of millions? The truth is, slavery was deeply ingrained in the fabric of colonial society. It fueled the economy, particularly in the South, and many of the Founding Fathers, despite their professed ideals, benefited from this brutal system. They made compromises, hoping that future generations would solve the problem they were too afraid to confront. This failure to address slavery had devastating consequences. It led to the Civil War, the bloodiest conflict in American history, and left a legacy of racism and inequality that persists to this day. Their failure to abolish slavery wasn't just a moral failing, it was a political one. Section 5 echoes in the present, the Founding Fathers' enduring impact. Okay, so we've established that the Founding Fathers were complicated dudes. They had their triumphs and their failures, their moments of brilliance and their blind spots. But here's the thing, their legacy isn't just some dusty history book chapter. It's alive and well in the America we live in today. Think about it, we still operate under the Constitution they wrote over 2 centuries ago. Our government, with its system of checks and balances, is a testament to their enduring vision. The freedoms we enjoy, freedom of speech, religion, the press, are all rooted in the ideals they fought for. Their influence goes beyond government, though. Their emphasis on education helped shape the American spirit of innovation and entrepreneurship. Their belief in individual rights continues to inspire activists and reformers fighting for equality and justice. Their story, for all its complexities, is a reminder that ordinary people can achieve extraordinary things. Section 6. Judging the past, learning for the future. It's easy to judge the Founding Fathers from the comfort of our 21st century perspective. We can point out their hypocrisy, their compromises, their failures to live up to their own ideals. But we have to remember, they were products of their time. They lived in a world where slavery was the norm, where women were denied basic rights, where conquering land from Native Americans was seen as progress. Does that excuse their actions? Of course not. But it does require us to view them through a more nuanced lens, to recognize both their achievements and their shortcomings. We can admire their brilliance while acknowledging their flaws. We can learn from their mistakes while striving to create a more just and equitable society. Section 7. A mixed legacy honoring achievements, confronting failures. So what's the verdict on the Founding Fathers? Were they heroes or hypocrites, visionaries or villains? The truth is, they were a bit of both. They were complex individuals who achieved extraordinary things while also perpetuating some of the worst injustices in human history. Their legacy is a mixed bag, a tapestry woven with threads of brilliance and brutality. We can celebrate their achievements, their creation of a new form of government, their enshrinement of individual rights, their unwavering belief in the power of the people. But we must also confront their failures, their acceptance of slavery, their exclusion of women and minorities, their mistreatment of Native Americans. The Founding Fathers left us with a powerful legacy, one that continues to shape the world we live in today. By grappling with their complexities, by acknowledging both their triumphs and their failures, we can gain a deeper understanding of our own history and chart a course for a more just and equitable future.